9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top.
Allumage P80.
Allumage P80 et décollage. Propulsion est nominal, le guidage est nominal. Paramètres bord sont normaux.
These are impressive images. I'm always impressed, and it's incredible to see that full daylight, no clouds today. It's absolutely wonderful. The Vega launch has been flying for 45 seconds. So acquisition by the Saint-Jean station, and that's the 12th launch for the year for Arianespace. A perfect launch so far. So we've just heard acquisition by Saint-Jean. What does this mean? It's a telemetry station based in the west of Guyana, and as the launcher is in altitude thanks to the P80 stage, we have acquisition by this station so that we have contact with the launcher for the first phase of the flight. The P80 is the first stage, okay, and in 40 seconds it will be separated from the rest of the launcher. Yes, it's active for 2 minutes roughly, and once it's finished its a boost and it's empty, we separate it. Okay, so it's very fast. Yes, it takes off very fast because we have 230 tons of thrust that's delivered by the P80, and you have to look at this in relation to the weight of the launcher, which is twice as low. So it's an impressive thrust, and the launcher takes off very fast. Yeah, these were impressive images. You can see here the separation of the P80. It's been confirmed. And we see that the Zefiro 23, look at the P23, the P80 that we can see, and now we have the Z23 that continues this thrusting. Why several stages? Why several engines? Well, the principle is to get rid of dead weight when you don't need it anymore. So when a stage is over and has consumed all its propellants, if we keep it on board, we carry dead weight in space, and that's costly. So that's why we have different stages in a launcher, so that we can get rid of dead weight as we go. The trajectory is nominal, says the DDO. It's incredible. After 2 minutes, we can still see the launcher. Yes, it's normal. We've gained in altitude, but we're still not far from Kourou in terms of geography. But soon now, we will have acquisition from our next monitoring station in 20 seconds. Okay, that's the end of thrust by Z23. That's coming to an end, and we will have the separation of the second stage. Okay, we see the Jupiter room live. So next steps. So now we have roughly now in a few seconds we have the separation of the third stage and the ignition of the Zefiro 9 engine. It's been confirmed. And separation, jettisoning of the fairing. So these are computer-generated images, but say a few words about the fairing. Why a fairing? What's the role of a fairing? It protects the satellites when the launcher goes across the atmosphere, because, well, this trajectory generates acoustic forces and many different things. And by the way, it also protects the satellites from the natural environment in French Guiana. But once we are across the atmosphere, we can jettison the fairing, because once again, that's dead weight. And as we're no longer in the atmospheric layer, there is no friction anymore, so the satellites no longer need to be protected. Absolutely, that's correct. DDO said nominal everything's nominal, so everything's fine. Let's say a few words about what we talked briefly earlier. Tell us about the trajectory, which is slightly more eastward than usually. Why? Well, it has to do with the orbits that we target for the CERES satellite. It's inclined with regards to the equator. So to target this plane, we have to launch slightly more eastward than in the other Vega missions where we launched to the north. But here we launched slightly more to the east. Okay, so that's a different trajectory leading to special measures. Everything's nominal. Yeah, keep an eye on what the DDO is saying. But the launcher is connected to the ground and to different telemetry bases. And here we have one very special telemetry base, which is on board a ship. Yes, absolutely. Because of the trajectory, because we have to launch to the east, at one stage we're flying over the North Atlantic and we have no station available on ground to ensure contact with the launcher. That's why for this mission we deployed, like we did for other launchers, we deployed a boat-based station. So that's a boat that's in a very specific location that's ready to acquire all the signals from the launcher and to maintain connection with the launcher during this phase across the Atlantic Ocean. So we can see that on the animation. Z9, Zephyro 9 separation has just been confirmed. Okay, that's another very important phase. We have 50 minutes flight. Yeah, we have 40 minutes left. We have a reorientation maneuver before we have the ignition of the upper stage. Okay, this upper stage contains our 3 passengers. Yes, absolutely. Reorientation maneuver. Why? Because for the separation of the 3rd stage, we give it an angle in order to make sure that there is a proper injection. So the orientation maneuver has just been confirmed. Can we talk about this AVUM stage? What does AVUM mean and what is it? Well, it's a different stage. It's liquid propellant. So we just had confirmation that it was ignited, so everything's fine. The AVUM, you are connected directly live with Koro. Yeah, maybe I should have said it before. Okay, so the AVUM is very specific because the propellants are liquid propellants.